Warning, the following video contains dangerous elements. Although it's about cleaning cast iron, it does involve electrical current, it involves harsh chemicals, and in my case here it involves the use of propane gas to fire an oven. I don't recommend that you undertake any of this at home unless you're very confident. I'm only showing you how I do it, and I will not be held responsible if you have an accident trying to do anything that I've done here. Thank you. One of the things that I really enjoy buying and selling is cast iron cookware. As you can see, I've got an overabundance of it at the moment. I've got, I don't know, at least a couple hundred pans here right now that are ready to be sold. A lot of it's common, and we sell it through our store. The more unusual pieces I sell on eBay. But on this video today, I'm going to show you how I clean and recondition the cast iron from start to finish. I purchased this cast iron this morning, and there are 24 pieces here, and I paid $300 for it. There's some unusual pieces here that I'm going to restore and resell. These 5 pieces here, though, I want to highlight. These will be the 5 that I demonstrate how I will clean these up. Here's a Martin stove and range number 3. There's a Griswold number 3. This one is I think it's a Wagner chicken fryer. This one here, no idea, it's completely encrusted. And this one here is a Sperry kettle. It's marked Sperry. You probably can't see it there, but I'd like you to notice what they look like right now, and I'm gonna start prepping them for restoration. There are 3 main components that I use to clean my cast iron. What I'm showing you here is called an E-tank, or an electrolysis tank. It works the opposite of a chrome plating tank in that it removes rust from cast iron and steel. To set one up, you need water, a tub, a manual battery charger, Arm & Hammer super washing soda, 2 steel plates called anodes. Put one on one end of your tub, one on the other end of your tub. It doesn't have to be pretty steel, just something that'll draw the rust away. And you hook your battery charger up. You put, first of all, you take and hook your 2 anodes up, connect them together by a wire. You can see I've got one here running across, going into the other side, the other anode. Then you take your positive battery charging terminal and attach it to the anode. You take the negative terminal and hook it to I've run a hook through here, and that's what I'm going to end up attaching the piece of metal that I want to take the rust away from. That'll be suspended in the solution. All I did was drill a hole and run a hook all the way through there. The solution composition is 20 gallons of water would use 1 1/3 to 2 2/3 cups of super washing soda. It has to be super washing soda. The other kind doesn't work. There are other YouTube videos about how to set these up that are more detailed than my story is going to be here. The second component of my cast iron cleaning method is a lye bath. This is another plastic tub with water and lie. I've got my iron that I'm cleaning right now suspended. These are not the ones I'm going to show you. The other ones, but these are ones I'm working on right now. They have to sit in there for a couple days. In our warm weather, the high temperature helps to remove the crud real quick. And the third main component is a smoker that I have converted to an oven. I've got it hooked up to a 20-pound propane tank, and I bought a burner off of Marketplace. It's got a big old cast iron and brass burner down in the bottom that puts out a couple 100,000 BTUs if you want it to. It really fires up. So what you do at the end is you coat your cast iron once it's clean with a combination of grapeseed oil and beeswax. At least that's what I use. And you fire it up and it puts a nice black coat on. Demonstration is coming. Okay, I'm going to take this pot, which is rusty. You can see the rust on there. And it's covered with crud. It's old carbon that's been there forever. What I'm going to do is hook this up to the e-tank. I'm going to put it in a solution and let it soak until it's clean. First off, everything is unplugged, so it's safe to touch. You don't want to do this when it's plugged in. You'll get electrocuted. All I do is hook this up, put my little wire on there, and dip it into the water, get it all down inside there. And you want to make sure it's completely submerged and not touching your anodes. Put it right in the middle and try and get a good electrical connection. Looks like we got good contact there. We'll find out shortly. So it's ready to go. All I have to do now is plug it in. You do want to make sure you're using a manual battery charger and have it in the manual position. If it's on automatic, it won't work properly. It keeps kicking off. It has to be in manual. And then just plug it in. You should see the amp gauge jump, which it's not because I don't have a good connection. So unplug it. Go back over here and try again. Just got to get a good connection on this. It's hard when you don't have yeah, got to get a better connection. We're going to try a different spot. Put it right through the end here. That ought to do it. Put that back in there. Plug it in. And that's better. It's got a current going through it. You'll notice bubbles starting to rise off of it here after a little while. One other thing I would mention about this is do this in a protected area, and you do want to make sure that the gases can escape and not be confined in a enclosed area. They can be flammable. I don't have any children or pets here, so it's not a big issue for me. I can already see bubbles starting to come off the metal, so that's a good sign. Back at the e-tank after one day of soaking, not even a day, it's only been about 12-14 hours. That ought to be enough time. You can see the crud floating up on top. Alright, we're going to unplug it. Now we're safe to go digging here. And we'll pull this out of here. See the loose material? And with my little wire hanger, and we'll go in here and wash it up. And it's going to look like a completely different pot already. The rust just falls off. It turns into another chemical compound. I can't remember the name of it. It turns from iron oxide to something else. And we got most of it off with that. The rust is gone. Might have to go into the lye tank for a day now. Get the carbon off. See a little bit of carbon still stuck there. The E-tank doesn't work on that as well as the lye. There you go. In order to clean the carbon off of an old crusty pan, we soak it in lye. I got a lye bath here, and it's 1 pound of lye to 5 gallons of water. I got this on the internet. Amazon carries it, and you want to be careful not to get it on you. It will burn. So you want to be careful when you're handling this. And all we do, this is the kettle that I cleaned up in the electrolysis tank. It's got some carbon on it. We're going to take it and dip it. I've got wires all hooked up here, and I don't know if everything's going to fit. We're going to try. Oh, 2 down. I think they'll go. Want to get them all in there, and they have to soak for a day or 2 usually. It doesn't take too long. Depends on how crusty they are. That one's, oh yeah, that's the one that's got a lot of stuff on the bottom. And 2 little ones. Perfect. Everything is submerged. It's been about 24 hours since I put those pans into soak. So it's time to check on them and see what they look like so far. Got to get out the nice gloves to protect my hands from the lye. And let's go fishing. Let's see. Okay, that's not part of my demonstration. These are, though. Okay, there you can see that it's really beginning to loosen up. I will take a wire brush and just start scraping it. It'll take a couple of days. I usually do this a couple times. Scrape off the loose stuff and stick it back in. And we'll do that with all the pans. There's the first one. I won't bore you with all the details of every pan, but I'll do a couple here for you. Oh, that's a Griswold. I guess I knew that. I'm interested to see what that one looks like that was on there. And that one. Oh, it's a Martin. Okay. So that's a Martin. Two Martins, right? Yep. The big kettle's done. It doesn't have to go back in because it was pretty light. So I'll clean that up and take it in and wash it. It's been another 14 hours since the last time I looked. We'll see how they look today. Done and ready to go. It's got to go back in. ready to go. Put that one back in. And that one's good to go. So 3 are done. Got a couple here we got to put back in for another day probably. And here we are back at the lye tank for what should be the last scrubbing on these 5 pans. I think it's probably pretty well dissolved by now. Yep, looking good. Oh yeah, that's done. We'll just get this off, and once I get these cleaned up here, I just take them into the utility sink and wash them off, get all the residue off, and then I'll dry them off, and they'll be ready for the final 2 steps in the process. Here are the pans after coming out of the lye bath and the electrolysis tank. They're stripped right down to bare metal. You'll notice a little bit of rust, and that's just flash rust. As soon as these things are unprotected down to bare metal, they'll rust, especially here in Florida with our high humidity. But that's a Martin pan that I didn't know it was a Martin until we got it cleaned up. So the next step is to coat them. I use grapeseed oil, and you'll notice there's some chunks in there. That's beeswax. I put in a little bit of beeswax, and it gives it a little bit more of a glossy finish. So what I'm going to do next is coat every one of these. Thin coat. And I'll fast forward to having these all coated. The 5 pans and pot are completely coated with oil inside and out. I've applied it pretty liberally. What you'd like to do next is to wipe it down. You don't want too much oil on there because it'll streak. You need to wipe it so that it's a nice thin coat. And I've got this old rag that I've used here. It's saturated. Get these all wiped down. It's an oily job. I found a crack in this pot, unfortunately. Right there by the handle, there's a hairline crack. Oh well, what are you gonna do? Won't be worth as much now, but it'll still be worth something to someone. It's a nice pot. It's so small you can't hardly see it anyways unless you're really looking. Alright, so got these all cleaned up, and the next thing I do is put them over here in the oven. I built this oven out of a smoker and put a big old gas burner in it. I'll hang them up in here. Got one to go here. I didn't wipe it off. There's that sound. Oh, look at that. I just love that sound. Oh, that one's good. I thought I saw a crack on that one, but it's not. It's the sound of money. Okay. Everything is hung up in the old smoker, converted into oven, and we're ready to go. I got a 20-pound tank here hooked up to the oven, and I'm ready to go. By the way, I haven't bought a tank of propane at the store in I don't know how long. I usually buy them at garage sales as well, full, 4 or 5, never more than $10. I just emptied 2 last week and sold the empty tanks for $10 a piece. Okay, I don't know if you can see this. It's hard for me to angle the camera while I'm getting it fired up, but valves on there, good. There we go. Woohoo! I didn't turn it down from the last time. I had it on an empty tank and I was cranking it. Anyways, just close her up. We're gonna bake it for about a half hour. I like to get it up to about 400 to 450 degrees. I would like to point out that this whole process of restoring cast iron can be a little dangerous. It involves electricity if you're going to use an electrolysis tank. It involves lye and harsh chemicals if you're going to use a lye bath. And if you're going to do the way I do here with propane, it involves very flammable gas. Do so at your own risk. You might be better off hiring a nut job like me to do it for you. It's been about 30 minutes and we've got her up to about 350, a little higher than 350. We'll shut it down. Open her up. And you can can see, they've already darkened up beautifully. I'm gonna let these cool, and I'm gonna oil them one more time and wipe them one more time and put them back in and do the whole thing again. This is the second go around on the oven, and I got it up a little higher this time. We've got her finishing off at about 450. It should be done. I'm gonna turn it off and let them cool, and once they've cooled off, I'll show you what the finished product looks like. And here are the finished product. I don't know if you remember what they looked like when we started, but they weren't anything like this. And they'll only get better with use. They'll darken up more. These have been run through twice. Some folks like to run them through the oven like 5 times. I'm happy with 2 times, and like I say, they will darken further with age, but these look beautiful. I'm very pleased. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please hit the like button. I encourage you to subscribe to my channel, the Pennsylvania Dutch Picker. It's primarily about picking at garage sales, estate sales, and moving sales, and reselling the items to make money. Thank you.